Hello friends, welcome. Now this is the project we are going to build with React. So in the welcome page we display the list of movies and we can filter them. So if I search for lion, for example, or doctor, and you can see we can filter them. We have navigation, and for now I just added the about, and when you navigate we go to the /about and we display the about page. Also, when we click to the single movie here, we navigate to the /movies / the ID of the movie, and we display the movie in the nice Tailwind CSS card. So if I change the ID of the movie to, for example, click enter, and yeah, we get another movie. Okay friends, that's it, and I hope you enjoy, and don't forget, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. So let's get started and learn React together. So here I am inside the ReactJS.org, and we can see React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. So let's get started here. And let's click in the create a new React app. And now if we scroll down here, we can see create a new React app. We need to run this command npx create a React app and give it the name. Of course, we are using here npx, so we need to have Node.js installed. If you don't have, go and download the app here and install that. After that, open the terminal and run that command. Sorry, let's open the iter here and let's zoom it, and let's say npx create React app and give it the name, and I'm going to name React app. Okay, hit enter, and it's going to create the React app inside this directory. After that, we need to cd in that project, and we can run the npm start. Now this npm start is going to run our application on the local machine. So it's going to run that application in the localhost 3000. Of course, you can create the React app with Yarn. So if you use Yarn, but I'm going to use npm, so let's stick with that. And let's see now, let's wait for the npm to create the project. Okay, now the project is ready. Let's cd in the project and run that npm start. So I'm going to copy that, paste it here, and first I'm going to open the project with a VS Code, and after that let's run the npm start. Npm start, and it's going to open the project in localhost 3000. Very good. Now let's see what we have in this project. We have the node modules, and after that we have this public folder, and here we have this index.html, and this is going to be the only HTML file in our project. Let's remove the code here, and you can see inside the body tag we have only one div with ID root, and inside here is going to be all of our project. All the code for our project is going to be inside here. So here is going to inject the project inside here. Okay. So also let's open this package.json, and we can see here we have the dependencies we need for running this project. We have the React here, React DOM, which is for web application. And we have this React scripts you can see we run npm start, and this npm start is going to say React scripts start. Okay, we have this build which is going to be npm run build, not npm build, npm run build, and it's going to run this code, and the build is going to create an optimized folder for deployment. So when we deploy to the internet, is going to be more fast through internet. Is going to create optimized files there. Okay, we have this test for testing, and eject is more advanced, so we are going to ignore for now. Let's close this. Let's close also this one, and let's open the source folder. Now here is going to be all the files and the components we need for our project. And we can see this index.js. This is the entry point for our project. Let's also remove the code here, and we can see we have imported the React, the core React, the library, and the React DOM. Also the CSS file, and also we have imported this app file. So this one, and we say here const root React DOM is going to create a root here, and you can see document get element by ID root. So you're going to get that ID root here, and it's going to inject the project. So document get element by ID root, and it's going to say here root render, and it's going to render inside that div this app. Here you can see it is something like a HTML app, and so we have this React strict mode, which is going to let React strict what to use inside, and warning if we use something that React don't want. Okay, and inside here is going to render this app to the root here. So inside here is going to be our project. So if I save this, and let's go, where is the project here, inspect element, and we can see here we have this div with ID root, and all the application is inside here. Here we have, after the div class app, we have the header, and also we have the paragraph and the link. So all the application is inside this div, which is inside this index.html. Okay, friends. Now, what is this app? So let's open that file now. Let's close this public, and let's open this app.js. And this is what React is a component. All the files is going to be component, and all the components is going to be rendered here as pieces of a website. So for example, we can have one component for the logo here, one component for the paragraph, and a component for this anchor tag. And if we see here, we have a function. Now we have function components and class components. And nowadays the function components is more used with hooks. But in this course, we are going to start with class components, and after that we are going to change the files from class components to the function components. We are going to convert them. Okay, but let's see here. Here we have function app, and this function is going to return this kind of HTML. So here is the div, the header, image, and so on. But you can see we don't have class, but we have class name. Also, you can see here in the image, we have this source, and we have curly braces, and the logo here, which is this logo we imported from. And here is export default the app. Now, if we make some changes, let's say here, learn ReactJS. So right now we can see here what we have. If I save and come here, we have now learn React. Okay, is immediately updated. Now that's it about this video. In the next video, we are going to change this component from function component in the class based component. Okay, so see you in the next video. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. So in this video, I'm going to convert this function component in the class component. We are going to learn first the class components, and after that, we are going to convert all the class components in the function components, so you can understand both the class components and function components in the React. And I'm going to use the class components first because I think class component is more easy to understand when React and how React render and re-render. Because for me, to learn React, we need to understand when React is rendering and is re-rendering the application. This is more core and essential thing to understand with React. Okay, because when we are going to work with state, when we change the state, the React is going to update the DOM, so it's going to re-render that function component, for example. So let's start and change this in the class components. How we can do that is easy. So we can, first we need to import the component from React. Okay, import this component from React, and here now, instead of function, we need to say class name app, and we need to extend that component we imported. So extends the component. Okay, now and the class, we need first the render. So what I said is more easy to understand when we render and re-render in the what we render in. So we say render here, and what we are going to render, we are going to render this HTML, kind of HTML, because it's not HTML. So let's pass that return function here, and we are going to return this. So we are going to render this code. This is JSX. It's looking like HTML, but it's not. So if I save and if I come here now and refresh, nothing changed. And if I remove everything here, and let's remove now the logo, we don't need that. And let's say here just h1 welcome to Laraveller. Save, and you can see here welcome to Laraveller. Now you need to remember, we need here not just class but class name, because class is reserved in the JavaScript, and also we cannot add another div here. We need to have only one parent div. So we need to have a div, and inside we can add what we want. Okay, that's it. How easy is the change from function component into class components? And we are going to start with class, create some components, and in the end we are going to convert all the class components in the function components and use hooks for the state. So that's about this video, and see you in the next one, friends. All the best. Okay, friends, welcome. In this video, I'm going to work with state now. Right now, we just have the hard-coded data displayed in the website. Now let's say, for example, here down there, I'm going to say ptarg and say my favorite movie is, I'm going to say Fast 9. Okay. And if I come here, yeah, here it is. But this movie, I want to come from the state. So let's create the state here. And I'm going to call the constructor. And after, let's call the super. Now this super here is going to call the constructor of the super component. In this case is this component here. Okay, this super is going to call the constructor of this component. Okay, and here now let's create the state. I'm going to say this dot state. Now this is referring to this class, which is app right now. And the state is going to be a key value pairs. So let's say an object with, we need to say equal here, an object with a key value pairs. So let's say movie name, and I'm going to say here in the string Fast 9. Save this one, and how we can display this movie name in the HTML down there. We need to say here curly braces. Now if you have to use Vue.js, we have double curly braces. In the React we have single curly braces, and here we can add any JavaScript expression. So let's say right now I want to display this movie name in here. So my favorite movie is this dot state dot movie name. If I save this and let's go back, we have the same thing. Now if I change this to Fast 10, for example, save, and you can see now Fast 10 here. Okay. Now we learned how we can display the state in the HTML. And of course, if I inspect element here, here it is, paragraph, and you can see my favorite movie is Fast 10. And of course, I have installed this React extension. For Chrome, so you can go and install that. So here we have a component app, and the state is movie name, which is FastX. Okay, now let's change this state. I'm going to add a button down there. So let's say button, and I'm going to use onClick, but in React we need to say onClick with a capital C. Okay, onClick like this. And here we have curly braces, so we can add a pointer to the function, or we can call the function directly here. So let's say on click, I want to change this movie name to Fast 11, for example. Now, if I say just this state dot movie name to be equal to past 11, is not going to work. So let's say past 11 here, save, and we have this. But if I click, nothing happened. And if I say you here, if I just add console log that state, console.log, so this dot state dot movie name, if I save and let's inspect elements, go to the console. If I click here, you can see we have past 11 here, but the DOM here is not updating. Past 11, okay, we have 4 clicks, but the DOM is not updating. So the React is not aware of what we have changed the state. Okay, we need to tell the React we updated the state, so you go and update also the DOM here. And with React, we have a special method, not state, but this set state. And in here, we need to add an object with key and what we are going to update. So the state. And what we need to update this movie name. So let's say movie name, which is going to be past 11. Okay, and now React is going to see the state. If we have in this state a key movie name, is going to update with the value here. And after that, it's going to update the DOM. So if I save now and go back, refresh to see if, okay. Now if I click here, yeah, it's updating the DOM here. If I double, so they'll duplicate this one. And I'm going to say here, past 9 and also past 9 here, save, and refresh, we have 2. Now if I click past 11, it's going to be past 11. If I click past 9, it's going to be past 9. So when we say set state and we add the object with a key, what we have in the state, the React is going to see what we have in the state. And if we have that key, it's going to update the key with the value, and it also is going to update the DOM here. Hope you understand, friends, and see you in the next video. That's about this video. Hello friends, welcome. So in the previous video we worked with a state. When we click to the button, we update the state, and also we change the DOM here, so we re-render that paragraph. On click, we say this set state, the movie name, to this one. So if I add another property now here in this state, so let's say I'm going to add the year to be 2020, for example, and let's display that year here. So in the single curly braces, this dot state dot year, save, and yeah, here it is. Now if I click, we updating only the name, movie name. Now this set state is going to merge the state. So we have here a movie name, and it's going to update only the movie name. Okay, so what this state does is going to merge the state with what we added here, the movie name. Okay, now let's say I have many favorites movies, not only one, and I'm going to add an array of movies. So I'm going to say movies, an array with object which has the name to be, this one is going to be fast9. And also let's add the year. So let's add the year to be, for this one is going to be 2020. And duplicate this one. This is going to be fast10 and 2022, 2023, and this is going to be fast11. Now how we can display them here? It's very easy, just say in this state and get the first movies here. So let's say movies, the first array in the movie. So the movies 0 dot name, and the same thing for the year, state dot movies, grab the first one, the year, save, come here, and we have my favorite movie is Fast9. Let's remove this button. I'm going to leave only one button, and let's display also the others. So let's copy, paste it here, and this is going to be the second one, second movie, and this is going to be the third movie. Save, come here, and yeah, my favorite movie is Fast9 2020, Fast10 2022, and Fast11 2023. Now if I want to change, nothing happened right now because we say this set state, movie name, and this set state is going to merge with this one, so we don't have any key with movie name. It's not going to do anything, nothing. How we can update? We can say here now we have an array of movies and we want to update the first movie, for example, only this Fast9 to be Fast12. And I'm going to say movies, which is an array, and I'm going to copy all the objects because I want to update only the first one, so the other is going to remain the same. And this Fast9 is going to be Fast12 and the year 2025. If I save and come here and refresh, if I click here now, you can see it's going to update this one and the others is going to remain the same. Click here, yeah, Fast12 2025. So this is how we can work with arrays here and display them and also update the state. Okay friends, so that's it about this video. I hope you understand, and if you like a content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you in the next one. Hello friends, welcome. So in the previous video we displayed all the movies, and if I click on this button we updated the first one. And in this button we added this callback function here and we changed the state. Now let's create a function here. So in the class it's going to be a method, and I'm going to name it change name. So change name, and I'm going to say equal to the callback function, an arrow function, and here is going to be what we have inside now. So let's cut them and paste it to this one and change on click to be this dot the change name. Now I'm going to reference this method. We don't need to add the parentheses here because it's going to immediately call. We just reference to this function. Okay, and if I save that and come here, click here, it's going to update that. Okay, so the same thing. Good. Now what if I want to add an input instead of a button, and what I put in that input, I'm going to change that name. Okay, so let's remove this button. And instead of a button, I'm going to add an input with type text. And let's self-close this one. And now here, instead of on click, we need to say on change. And the same thing, I'm going to reference this change name. So I'm going to say this dot change name. If I save now, what it's going to do is going to do the same thing we did with the button. It's going to update and say fast 12 2025. And input type text. Input, not input, input like this. And now if I type something here, it's going to update immediately to the fast 12. But I want to update what we added here. I want to update the name. So for that, this OnChange is an event handler. So in this method, I'm going to add here an event. So the event, what we put it here, is going to be this event, and I'm going to update the first name, so this one, to be what we put in that input. So OnChange is going to call this and is going to add the event there. And I'm going to say event.target.value .value. Now the name is going to be the event target value, so what we put it in this one here. Okay, so we say OnChange and we reference this method, this change name, and this change name expect the event, and we say the name is going to be the event target.value. Refresh and let's add that one here. So let's say fast 12, and you can see fast 12. If I add something here, yeah, the same thing. If I refresh, of course, this is fast 9 and this is an empty input. Now with Vue.js, we have that to a data binding, we can add just vModel, and if I put something here, we display here, and the same thing. If we have fast 9 here, it's going to be the same thing in here. But with React, we don't have that. So to do to data binding, we need to say OnChange. So what we are going to do when we change this input, and I'm going to add the value now of that input to be this state and the first name. So let's copy that and paste it here. Now if I save and come here, you can see immediately this is fast 9, the same thing we have in the first one. And of course, if I say 9,000 now, is going to be the same thing in the name here. So it's going to update what we put inside here. Okay, friends, so this is how we can change the state with input and add the value also to update immediately. So true data binding with React, OnChange, and the value what we have in the state. I hope you understand, friends, and if you like a content like this, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next one. Hello friends, welcome. So in the previous video we worked with the input and we make a true data binding. So we update the name based on the input here, and we display the name in the input. So if I change, it's going to update, and of course when we refresh, we see that name in here. In this video, I'm going to work with lists, because here we displayed all the movies in the paragraph, and we repeat the code for every movie. And if we have more than 3. If we have 1,000, we need to do the same thing. So how we can render list in the ReactJS? Because if we use Vue.js, we can say here easily just v4. We can make a loop here and display that list here. But we React, we need to use JavaScript only. So I'm going to use the map method, and let's add a curly braces and say this dot state dot movies. Now movies is an array. Add the map method here, which need an array here, and in this map I'm going to add a callback. Now this callback method function is going to run for every movie. Okay, this is going to run to the first movie, to the second movie, and to the third movie. And if we have more, it's going to loop through them. So I'm going to add a movie name. Here you can add what name you want, but because we have movies, I added movie here. And I'm going to return, let's return here a h2 tag, and I'm going to say my favorite movie is, we cannot p tag, but I just to have more nice, I think. And here my movie is, and I'm going to add the movie name and also the movie year. And because we are inside the HTML, we need to add curly braces here. So single curly braces and say movie dot name. And of course, the same for the year. So let's say movie dot year. And now this is going to return the first one. Is going to do the same thing for the second and for any movie we have here, because it's going to loop through all of them. Okay, so now if I remove the old data here and let's save this one, go back, you can see we have H2 with my favorite movie is Fast 9 and so on. And of course, if I change here, it's going to update. Good. Now this is how we can render a list with React. It's very easy. Now, if I open the inspect elements in the console, we can see we have an error. So warning, each child in a list should have a unique key. We need to add a key to every list, to every child here, because the React, when we change something, right now we change this, but we change in the hard-coded way, we say the first one changed. But if we have a dynamic change, the React does know what to change. So it's going to loop through and change altogether. So let's inspect this. And here we have H2. Also the same thing here. So it's needed to have a unique key to this one. This is the first one, this is a second, and so on. For that is very easy. So in the H2 tag, we can say key, and the key now must be unique. We need to have a unique key. Right now we have only 3 names, 3 movies, and we can add. So ID, the first is 1. And add here movie.id, save, refresh again, and we no longer see now the error. Okay friends, that's it about this video. Hope you understand and hope you like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. So in the previous video we worked with lists. We display all the movies here as a list with help of a map method. And let's remove this input right now. We don't need anymore this one. And as you can see, we have movies here with hard-coded data, and I'm going to change this in this video. I'm going to use the API. So I find this API for movies, and I'm going to get the movies from this API and assign them to the movies here. So let's remove also them, and if I save, go to the browser, and we don't have any movie right now. If you go to the how we can get now movies from here and add here and display. So get the movies from the API, assign the movies to this state and display the movies here. That is what I said in the previous videos when the thing to learn in the core thing to learn in the React is rendering and re-rendering, because now we are going to get movies from the API, assign them to this state, and when we change the state, we know the React is going to re-render this component. And if you go to the ReactJS.org documentation, here we have the lifecycle methods, and we are going to use this component did mount. Okay, this component did mount method runs after the component output has been rendered to the DOM. So when the component, this app component, is rendered to the DOM, this component did mount is going to be called. And we are going to use this one to get the API and assign the movies from the API to this state. So let's say here component did mount, and you can see here we have did catch, did mount, did update, and will unmount. But let's use this one. And I'm going to say here console.log I'm going to say component did mount, and let's copy this and paste in the render, and this is going to be the render method. Now if I save and go to the browser, let's inspect the elements, go to the console. We can see we have the first is called the render. So we render this component, and after we render the component is called this component did mount. Okay, so first is rendering, after this rendering this component did call. But here we have twice, and this is called twice because of so if I open the index.js, because this React strict mode here. So if I change this strict mode to div, for example, and if I save, you can see we have only one call. And let's now how we can get fetch the data from here and assign to the state. Let's use the fetch method. So fetch, and I'm going to say copy this one and paste it here. Now this fetch is going to be a promise. So I'm going to say, so maybe have movies, may not have. I'm going to say then, and then the response of that. Let's say console.log. So let's use again the console.log and say the response and save this one. Go to the browser refresh, and we have the first render and the response. Now I'm going to say response get the JSON data, so JSON, get us the JSON, and if I save and refresh, you can see now we have a promise, what I said. And here we have now the promise results is going to be an array with 5 movies. And I'm going to say here, so after the JSON, I'm going to say again, then, and here I'm going to say movies. I'm going to call this movies. You can name what you want. So for example, let's say API movies, or what you want. And I'm going to call now this set state because we need to update the movies. And we don't say here this state movies and assign, but we need to say this set state, what we learned in the previous videos. So this dot set state. And here I'm going to add a callback function, which is going to return, not render, return an object with movies and I'm going to assign with API movies. Okay, now if I save that and go back, refresh, we have an error. And why we have error? Movies, return these movies with our movies, API movie, and this state movies. Okay, we run this console log here, so we need to remove that. Sorry for that. And save it. And now you can see we have this my favorite movie is and nothing, because we don't have a name here, so we display the name, but in this API we don't have a name, we have a title, and also the year is with a capital. So let's say capital title here, and also the year it's going to be with capital Y. And if I save, go to the browser, refresh, we have the movies here, and we need to add a key. We don't have ID in this API, so I'm going to add the title to be unique. So let's say title, save, go to the browser and refresh, and now we don't have that error. And you can see we have render 2 times. The first one is when we rendering for the first time, and then it's going to re-render because we call this fetch in the component did mount and set the state. When we update the state, it's going to re-render this component. Okay friends, that's it about this video. I hope you understand. So we render for the first time that app component, and we call this component did mount. The code inside here is going to set the state, so it's going to update the state, and when we update in the state, we re-rendering the component. Okay friends, that's it about this video, and if you like, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next one. Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to display the movies and hide. I'm going to add a button here and I'm going to display them conditionally. So when we click to the button, it's going to hide and show. So let's go in the VS Code, and if we are in the Vue.js, we just can say add the state here and can say v if the state is that one. But with React, we are working with JavaScript, so we don't have that v-if and all the v directives. So let's add a state here. I'm going to say show movie or show movies. Let's say something like this, and initially this is going to be false. Now here in the render, I'm going to say let show movies and say this dot state. So I'm going to get that show movies here. So this state from the state, and I'm going to add a button after the h1, say button, and on click of this button. So let's say on click here, and I'm going to add a callback function here and say now this dot set state, and I'm going to add an object. Now this show movies of the state is going to be what that is not, show movies. So it's going to be the opposite, and let's say show movies now to this one. Save this, and we have this button. Now how we can hide and show the list of movies here, let's add a div here just to see we have them inside the div, and let's save it. Okay, now what I said, if we are in the Vue.js, we can say just v-if, something like this. But with React, we don't have that. And one way, but it's not the preferred way, is to say here, so for example, if the show movies is true, and if that is true, it's going to show. The movies is not, it's going to hide. So if I save that, we don't see it. If I click, it's showing, click high, show high. But I think this is not the preferred way. Another way is to add a ternary expression here. So ternary condition, if I say show movies, if this is true, it's going to show, otherwise let's say null here, nothing. Or you can add no movies, or refresh, show movies, hide, show movies, hide. Or we can say here, for example, a string no movies, and yeah, we have no movies and we show. But this is not the preferred way. The preferred way is to create here in the render before we return. So let's check here. If I'm going to create a variable, let render movies, and let assign with the null here. And here I'm going to say now if the show movies is true, this render movies is going to be with this movie. Now remove that conditional here, and I'm going to copy this, cut this div, and paste it in this render. And now here, instead of adding this code, I'm going to add this variable, render movies. So render movies now is, if it's true, this render movies is going to display the movies, otherwise it's going to be null. So it's not displaying nothing. After the button, let's say curly braces and render movies. Like this, let's save it, refresh, show movies, hide, show, and hide. Okay, this is how you can show conditionally with React. So I think this is the better way. Here we get the show movies from the state and created this render movies as null. And now if this show movies is true, we assign the render movies with the movie list, otherwise it's null. I hope you understand, and if you like a content like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In the previous video, we show the movies conditionally if we press this button, show and hide. In this video now, I'm going to remove that button. So let's go in the VS Code, in the App.js. And when we have this button, let's remove this button. And what I'm going to do is when we get the movies from the API, here we return in this set state, we say return movies, the API movies. And also I'm going to change the show movies to be true. And now here, when we say let render movies, we render the movies here. I'm going to say this is going to be a string and say loading movies here, like this. And if I save and go back, you can see now, if I refresh, you can see here we have a loading movies. So refresh. Yeah, let's inspect elements and go to the network, and I'm going to say slow 3G and refresh just to see more clearly that loading movies here, and we get the movies. Okay. Also in this video now I want to show you can download these React developer tools from Chrome Web Store. I have it here. And if I go and open the inspect elements, components, app components, here we have the state, and we have this movies, which is an array, and also this show movies to true. So if I uncheck and check, it's going to set this to true or false. Let's refresh, and I'm going to add an input here now. And I'm going to filter the movies, what we type in the input. So let's go in the VS Code. And here when we had a button, I'm going to add an input. And I'm going to say type to be search. I'm going to add a placeholder and say search movies. Now we are going to work with OnChange. We have worked with that, and I'm going to add, in the previous video when we worked with OnChange, we added a pointer to the method, and we are going to do the same thing, but let me just demonstrate to you. If I add a callback function here, and let's close this, and on the callback I'm just going to console log the event here. So here we have, this is the event handler, and let's console log the C, console.log the event, and save. Come here inspect elements, go to the console, and we can see now if I type something here, we have a OnChange event called, and here we have the target. Okay, if I open this target and see the value, is going to be the same what string we have here. So if I open, yeah. And if we add here the value, so let's add the value here. I'm going to say search input, and initially it's going to be an empty string. And let's add the value here just to show you. So not the value, I'm going to say OnChange. I'm going to create a constant search, and I'm going to say this is going to be equal to event target value, and after set this dot set state, I'm going to add a callback function here and say return the search input, so what we added in the state. Search input is going to be with the search here. Let's add that and associate it with the search. Let's save it, and if I come here, refresh, go to the components, app component. Now, right now we have seen the search input is an empty string. If I type something, yeah, the search input is updated. And also if I console log that search input, is going to be the same because we have here, no, it's no problem to console log. Now, in the next video, I'm going to filter the movies based on what text we have here, and if this movie title contains this text, is going to show. Otherwise, is going to remove from array, from the list here. Okay, so see you in the next video. All the best. Hello friends, welcome again. So in this video we are going to filter the movies based on the text we type here. So if the title of the movie includes the text we put here, is going to remain in the list here. So let's go in the VS Code, and first I'm going to do is create a method and add a pointer of that method in this OnChange, the same thing we have done in the previous videos when we worked with OnChange. So let's go up here and create the method, and I'm going to say search movies handler. Okay, and this is going to be the same thing as what we have here. So let's cut this one and paste it here, and now add this search movies handler pointer to this OnChange. So this dot search movies handler. If I save, and let's go and check if everything works correctly, inspect element, go to the components, and here is the search input. If I type something, it's going to update. Very good. Let's go back, and now how we can update the filter the movies. I'm going to use the filter method, the JavaScript filter method. So Here I'm going to say after this state, I'm going to say const, and I'm going to say filter at movies. Filter at movies is going to be with this state movies filter. I'm going to filter now, and this filter is going to return us a new array. So we are not going to change the movies state here. It's not a good idea to change the state. And here I'm going to add a callback function. Okay, we need to close this one. And now this filter is going to call the callback function on each element. So on each movie is going to call this callback function. And if it's true, so what condition we do here, if that is true, the element is going to mean on the array, is going to leave it on array. If it is false, it's going to remove from this array we get back. Okay? And here I'm going to say, I'm going to use the includes JavaScript method. So I'm going to say return okay. Now if the movie dot, here we need to add the movie, or you can name what you want. So it's the same thing with the map method. We add it in here. Okay, something similar. And now if this movie title, because we are going to search in the title, if this movie title includes the string we type in the input, so includes, and here I'm going to say this dot state dot search input. Okay, if that movie title includes what we type in here, is going to remain in the array. Okay, otherwise it's going to remove from the array this filter method. Now if I save, and we need to do one more thing, because if I type something here, nothing changed, because we need to search from these filtered movies now, not from the state of the movie, because this is going to remain the same. This movies here is going to remain the same. So I'm going to get back the filtered movies. So let's say filtered movies here, filtered movies, save and go back. Now if I type something, so let's say legend, and we get this, only the legend here. And let's say doctor here, so let's copy that and paste it in here. We have only the Doctor Strange. And to be with you now to show what we have done. So we add this input, and OnChange, we call this, we add a pointer to this search movies handler method. And this search movie handler accept the event, and we say const search, create a constant with name search and assign to the event target value. So what we type to this input, so in this case doctor, and we instantiated this search with a doctor, and say this set state return the search input with this search. So now the search input in this state is doctor. If I inspect the components here, go to the app, and we can see the search input is doctor, And then we say constant filtered movies, this state movies filtered, and we call this filter is going to call this to every movie, and if it's going to return true if the movie title includes this state search input. And it's good idea to do here. We have this let movie show movies, and I'm going to say also get the search input from there and also the movies. Okay. And now let's use movies like this, remove this search and also the search input. And if I save, it's going to be the same thing. So if I search for lion, yeah. And you can see now if I type just lion like this, is not working because here we have the L with the uppercase, and this includes is case sensitive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say in here event target value to be the local lowercase, and the same thing let's do in the title. And if I save and go back now and let's say lion, yeah, we have also the lion with lower L. And let's see here now is if it is everything correctly. We say show movies search input and the movies from this state. And I think we are okay. We can get also the remove this search, but I'm going to leave it for now. And that's it about this video, how we can make filtered movies with ReactJS. I hope you understand and hope you like, and if you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. So far we have created this project. We display all the movies we get from the API and we filter them here. Everything was work correctly, but if we go in the app.js, all the code is inside this project, so inside the app.js. And now we are going to work with components, because React is built for that, create small components and reuse them whenever we need. I'm going to create a component for the display all the movies, so to display a list of movies, and maybe create another component for this input and maybe another component for a single movie. So we are going to see. But right now, let's go and create a component for displaying a list of movies we have. And if you go to the ReactJS, you can go there and read more about components. And also here you can see components and props, how we can get movies from a parent component to the child component. Let's go and create the component inside the source folder. Here I'm going to create one more and I'm going to name it components, like this. It's not necessary, but I think this is the better way to create components, and inside here to create all the components we need. Also, I'm going to create another folder and I'm going to name it movie list. And inside this movie list, I'm going to create the file name movie list.jsx. Now in here, I'm going to create the component. And first, I'm going to create a class components. And after, when we finish with class components and with the project, I'm going to convert all the class components in the function components, just to see you can understand both the function components and also the class components. So to create the class components, we need to import the component from React. So let's come here and say import component from React. Okay. After that, we need to create a class with name, and I'm going to name it movie list. And we need to extend the component. Here now we need to render. Okay. And let's close also this render, and we need now to call the return. So what we are going to render in our browser. So let's say return, and let's display only one div with movie list component. I'm going to say movie list component. Before we save, we need to export this movie list because we are going to use in other files. So let's say export default and the name, which is movie list. Okay, save now this one, and let's go in the app.js and use this component. So here first we need to import that. So let's say import the name, which is movie list, and we need to import from the components movie list folder and also the name, which is movie list. It's not necessary to add the .jsx here. And let's use that movie list component now inside our app.js. So down there, when we return, before the render, I'm going to add that. So movie list, and let's close that, save. Now you need to learn that. You need to learn that all components must be capitalized. So here we see we have M capital and also the L with capital, because the React need to know if that is component or maybe is HTML code. Okay. So with that, now if I save and if we navigate in the browser, here it is. You can see the movie list component is here. So our component we have created. And if I make a change here, save, yeah, here it is. Now in this component, I want to get the movies and display them as we have here. How we can get the movies from the parent component, from the app.js, because here we get all the movies and we filter the movies here. Now I want to copy this code and use that in this one. And after we have the render the movies list, we can use that component inside here instead of all the things. And the idea is to have that list of movies here, because maybe we have another page to display the list of movies and we can just import the movie list and use them in another page. Okay. So to get a component movies, so let's go to the ReactJS.org. What I said before, go to the components and props, and here it is an example with function components. We need to accept the props here. With the class components, we have this, which mean the class, and we have the special props which is coming from with this. So these props and what we added in the component. So here we have an example with a welcome, and we add this prop, which is name, and here is we have the string, but we can have what we want. So let's go in our project and let's add in our component down there when we render, let's add a title, for example, and let's say a string here. Let's say movie list title. And if I save this one, now here we are in the app.js, the movie list, we can get that. So let's display here the prop by saying this, because we are in the class components, this prop title. If I save and go to the browser, here we have the movie list title, what we put inside this prop. And also if I remove this and add an array, so for example, movie 1 and movie 2, movie 1, and let's add something like this, and save. Come here, you can see movie 1, movie 2, and movie 3. And of course, if I inspect elements, go to the components here, you can say in the movie list now, we have the title, which has an array with 3 elements, movie 1, movie 2, and movie 3. Okay. Now we don't need the title, but we need the movies. Okay, so let's say movies here, and I'm going to add the movies we need to display. And we need to display the filtered movies, not the movies we get from the state here, because we need also to filter them. So we need filtered movies, and let's say here filtered movies and save. Now let's go, but before we go there, let's copy now this, because we are going to do the same thing. So let's copy when we say render movies here, copy that and paste it inside when we return. Paste that in, but instead of filtered movies, because we don't have filtered movies, we named the props movies, because we have many movies. We name movies here the prop, so we can say this dot props dot movies like this. And if I save, and you can see now we have double the movie list, because we display also in here with a component, with a child component, and when we render that, we display down there. So right now, if I cut this one and replace this now, remove what we have here and paste that movie list, save, go back, refresh, let's remove that, and let's see if it works perfectly. So we have filtered movies working. Let's say doctor. Okay, everything works correctly, and we created the movie list component here, and we used that in the app.js here in the render. And we understand how we can add props from the parent component and use them in the child component. Okay friends, that's it about this video. I hope you understand, and if you like a content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to create another component And I'm going to remove this my favorite movie is, and I'm going to display only the title of the movie, the image, because the poster. If we go in the components here, and we have a movies, and for every movie we have a poster, a runtime, a title, and a year. So I'm going to display the poster, the runtime, the title, and also the year. And remove this my favorite is. So it's going to be something like a card. So let's go in the VS Code, and inside the components, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name it movie card. And inside a new file, movie card.js as .jsx. Okay, the same thing here. First, we need to import the component from React. Okay, let's create now class, and I'm going to name it movie card. Extend components. Let's call the render method, and also close that, and let's return what we need to return now. And first, let's just return a div, and I'm going to say here movie card component. Okay, now we need to export the default, so export default movie card, save. Let's go in the movie list. Now here we are going to use that movie card, import the movie card here, import movie card from movie card. And instead of something like this, we are going to display that. So I'm going to say uppercase M movie card, and let's close it for now, save. And we can see we have a movie card, some all the components. Go to the console. And we need to have the unique key. Okay, now in this movie card, we need to add a prop for the movie, because we need to display a movie here. So let's say here movie, which is going to be with a movie. Save, and now in the movie card, first I'm going to add a div, and in that div, I'm going to add an image with a source is going to be this props movie dot, and what we have in the movie. So let's go here, single movie poster with capital P, poster like this. And we can add also the alt to be this props movie title. Very good. After that, let's add the h2 to be this dot props dot movie dot title. Very good. And what we have other, we have the runtime and the year. And let's add a span, which is going to be this props movie year. Okay, another span for this prop movies, not year, but what we have, runtime. Okay. close the span and save. Let's go back and refresh. And you can see now we have something like this. We have a card, and the last one doesn't have the image. So if I inspect elements, go to the components and see the last movie, not here in the movie list, and see the last movie does not have the image. Okay. Now we need to add some styles, but not in this video. You can see here we have this props movie here, the same thing here and there. So this is a good time for this structure. So we are going to say in here const movie, and it's going to be to get the movie from the props here, and instead of these props we can say just this props movie. So let's select all them and remove, save, and it's going to work correctly again. But if you also want to remove the movie, because we have movie here, movie, you want only to have the poster and the title, year, and runtime, you can say get me the poster, the title, the year, and also the runtime from, runtime from this props.movie. So we make a distraction for the movie. If I save, and let's remove now all the movie we have, select them, remove now the movie and leave only the strings, and it's going to work again. So it's up to you if you like something like this or what we had before. And that's it, how we can create another component and use in this movie list component, which also get the movies from the app, from the parent component. So this is the high level component, the parent one, which we added in the index.js. And after the index.js is running this app.js. After the app.js is going to run from up to bottom. So first it's going to call the constructor, and after that it's going to render and return what we have here. And you can see we have this render movies, which these render movies have the movie list. Okay, so when we come here, it's going to render the movie list. And also when we go to the movie list, it's going to render from up to bottom. So it's going to render what we have here, and we can see now this is going to return this movie card. And when it's come here, it's going to render this movie card component, and so on. I hope you understand, friends, and if you like a content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to install the Tailwind CSS in our React app. You can create your custom CSS, so if I open the files inside the source, we have this index CSS. You can create your own CSS here. Also in the app CSS we have some styles, and you need to know what classes we have here. We can add in our all components. So we can add in the movie card component, also movie list component is not scoped to this app.js. Okay. So the apps, what classes we have in the app CSS is global, so we can apply in all components. It's not like a Vue.js when we set the style scoped and it's going to be scoped only to that component. Okay, now let's go and install the Tailwind CSS. If you go to the tailwindcss.com and installation with install React, we need to run npm install-d and Tailwind CSS, post CSS, and also the auto prefixer. So let's copy them. And I'm going to open the terminal. Let's stop for now and paste that in. Hit enter. Next, we need to create the Tailwind config.js and also the post CSS config.js. So let's run this command. Okay. We need to add the source in our config Tailwind CSS, Tailwind config.js, sorry. So let's copy. Go, you can see now we have this Tailwind config.js. In the content, we need to add that, save, close this. Next, we need to add the base components and utilities from Tailwind in our index.css file. Copy, go in this index, and I'm going to select all, remove, and paste that in. You can leave if you want, no problem. And after that, we need to say just run and it's going to run. So let's npm start. And let's come here. Also, I have opened this and you can see we have a different, now the images are in the left. And also this search now is something different. I have opened this flowbyte.com because I'm going to use the card component from here. And I'm going to use this one or maybe this one. But for now, let's see if we have the Tailwind CSS here. So in this parent div, when we have a class app, I'm going to change and I'm going to say max width to be 6XL MX auto. And I'm going to say BG to be slate 200. Now in this h1, I'm going to say class name to be not title, but flex, and justify center. I'm going to add text to be 2XL, font semi-bold. Okay. And if I save, go to the browser, and yeah, we have a gray slate 200 here, and also the welcome to Laravel is in the center. I'm going to add another div here. So add a div with a class name flex justify center, and here now I'm going to add the input. Now you can create your own component for the input if you want, but I'm going to leave it. And here it is now, the search. I'm going to add some classes here. So let's add the class name, and if I type correctly class name, I'm going to say margin 2, padding 2, and let's say text to be gray 400. Okay. And also I'm going to say rounded MD. If I save and let's see, yeah, Now we have something like this. Okay. Next, let's work with movies now. To work with movies, we need here we have the render movies. So this render movies has the movie list. So we need to go in the movie list and add the class. In the parent, when we have this div, I'm going to add the class name and I'm going to say grid. Grid calls 3. I'm going to add 3 of movies and I'm going to add the gap of 4 here. Save. And you can see now we have 3 movies here. Very good. Now let's go in this low byte and I'm going to use this one. So let's copy the classes we have here. These classes are in the parent div of the card. So we need to go in this movie card, and when we have this div, add class name, which is going to have all the classes we get from there. Next, in the image, I'm going to add the class with rounded top LG. Copy that and do the same thing. So in the image, add classes, class name, and paste that in. Next one. Now here we need a div, and after we have the anchor tag for the title. So let's copy this one. And before the title, we need to have the div here. And you know what? Let me copy this and paste it. I'm going to remove this SVG here. Also the button for readme. I don't want that. In this anchor tag, instead of something like this, I'm going to add our title. And instead of class, we need to say class name. Okay. Also, I don't want this p tag. What I want to add a span here. So let's cut them and paste it right here. Remove the title. And if I save right now, go to the browser, and yeah, we have something like this. Refresh. Okay. Let's add also here class name, and I'm going to say margin right to be 4. Okay, save it, come here, and yeah, now we have the year and the runtime separated. And you can play with cards, but I'm going to leave it as it is for now. And I hope you enjoy the content. If you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In this video, I'm going to convert the card component, movie card component, in the function component. And also let me show you where the code is for this project. For this tutorial is inside the laravel / and react-first-app is the repository. Okay, next I'm going to center this image here because I don't like this. So in the movie card, here we have the image, and I'm going to add a div here with the class name to be flex, and I'm going to say justify center, and also I'm going to add padding top to be 3. Okay, and inside let's add the image now. So cut from here and paste it. And if we save, yeah, and I like something like this. Okay, now let's go and convert this into function component. The function component is going to be the same as arrow function. So I'm going to comment this one. And in here, I'm going to say const movie card is going to be equal the function. Okay. And now here is going to be our logic. Now we need to understand that what we put here, the whole function, is going to render. Instead, in the class component, we can see we have this render, and also we have this function here. We have this component didn't mount, and maybe we have another function. So in the class components, it's going to render only the render what we have here inside this render. But this is the class component. This is going to be the function component. Now in the function component is going to render the whole code we put here. So if we have this function in here and also the render is going to render all the code. Okay. Now the function component takes arguments which are props. In here you can see in the ReactJS. Okay, and it's going to return JSX. So here we are going to return what we have. So let's copy from here and paste it inside. Let's uncomment this. Okay, now we need to have the poster, the title, property, year, and runtime. How we can get, because we have props in our function components. So the function component receive props, let's say props, but we need array destruction. So here we have array destruction for movies. Let's copy that and paste it inside here. Now instead of this props movie, we don't have in the function component this, but we have props, and we are going to say props movie. Also, we can get directly the movie from here because we know we get props, and we can say destruction here, the movie. Okay. And now instead of prop movie, we can say directly the movie like this. Now, if I save this one and let's go to the React app, import as movie card. Yeah, we don't, I forget to export default movie card. So let's copy this and paste it down there and save it. And everything is going to work correctly. So if I search, but this has no problem with search, this is only the card what we show here. So the same thing we had with this class, we converted to the function components, and we see now the function components takes an argument which are props and return the JSX. Now, in this case, we don't have state, we don't use state, but in the app.js, we have state also. And with the function component, we have the use state hook. Okay. And we are going to learn how we can use the use state hook and also the use effect hook. Okay. So I hope you understand now how we can convert from class component and into the function component. So let's remove this code now because everything worked correctly. And it's very easy. We just, because here we don't have what I said, we don't have the state and we don't have another methods. We just get the props and return the JSX. So all the best, friends, and see you in the next video. If you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share with your friends. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In this video, I'm going to convert the movie list from class component in the function component and also the app component. And if we go in the movie list, here we have the movie list, the class component, and is very easy. It's the same we did with a movie card, but the app.js, as you can see here, we have the state and we have this component dip mount lifecycle method, which we don't have in the function component. And also we have the function. Also here we had another function and all of that work. Let's start first with the movie list because it's more easy. We need to remove the component because we don't need. Let's say const movie list, and this is going to be equal to the function. Okay, we don't need the render. Also, sorry, remove the render. And here we have these props movies, but with a function we can get the props in here, or we can say distraction the movies directly by saying movies, and down there also call the movies like this. Save, come here and refresh. Everything is working correctly. Very good. Well, that's it for the movie list. Now let's get started with the app.js. And here we have the hard part of this video. Now we have a state, component did mount, and so on. So I'm going to select all and I'm going to comment and start from scratch here. So when we create a function component, we say const the name. In this case, is going to be app. Is going to be with equal to the function. And down there, we need to export. Export default and say app here. Okay. We need to import the movie list. So let's copy that and add it up here. And we need the state here. We need the movies, show movies, and search input. Now, if you go to the React documentation and the basic hooks, here we have this use state. For function component, we need to use the use state hook. And this use state hook returns a stateful value and also a function to update this value. So when the function is render, this state is what we put in the initial state here. Okay. And whenever we need to update this state, we call the set state, and the new state we add in here is going to be the same, this state. So let's start with our state, which have movies, show movies, and the search input. So inside the body of the function, we need to say now const, and first we need to import that use state hook from React. So import use state from React, and now let's say movies and also set movies, which is going to be use state, and the initial value is going to be an empty array. Okay, so what we have here, initial value, an empty array, and we said right now movies is empty array. Okay, let's do the same thing for the show movies. So const show movies and set show movies and equal to the use state. The initial value now is going to be false. Also, we have the last one, which is the input, search input. So const search input and set search input is going to be an empty string here. Okay, that's it for the state. Now we need this component did mount, which we don't have in the function component, but we have a hook called use effect, and we are going to use this one. And this, here we have some examples. You can go and read more about the use effect hook. Okay, this use effect hook takes two arguments. The first is going to be a callback function, you can see here, and the second is going to be an array of dependencies. So an array of dependencies can be the prop or the state we have in our function component. So the state is what we have here or the prop we get. Or if we leave it empty the array, so we don't add nothing, because this use effect is going to call whenever we run whenever this is going to be rendered, the function component is rendered, that is going to call the use effect. And if we leave empty the array, it's going to call for the first time, and that's all. Okay. In our case, so when we need to use that use effect to get the data from the API, and when we get data for the API is the first time, and we need to do that once. So we need to add an empty array, and that is going to be good for us. It's going to call for the first time, and that's it. So let's first import the use effect here from React, use effect, and let's use not that hook, use effect, and this is going to be, the first is the callback function, the second is an array of dependencies. Now, if I just say here console log, I'm going to say console log and use effect called like this. If I save and let's go to the browser, inspect console, we see use effect called. Okay, so when this application is rendering, we call the app.js, and when this app.js is rendered, this use effect is going to render. And we add an empty array here, so it's going to call only for the first time. Now let's copy what we have here, the fetch, and paste inside the function, uncomment this one, and we fetch, we get the API movies, and then we say this state, but in this case we don't have this set state, but we have the set movies, and in here now we need to say API movies. So we updated these movies with the API movies we added here. Okay, and also we need to say show movies to true. We need to change this show movies, and we need to call the set show movies, and we need to say true now. and remove this thing from here. And because we have that, okay, good. Next one, what we have? We have this this search movie handler. We're going to copy that and paste it here. Uncomment and say here const search movie. Okay. Next one we have the render, but we don't need the render in our function. Just I'm going to copy what we have inside the render. So copy all and paste it here. We need to uncomment and work with that. So uncomment that. Okay, we don't need this distraction here because we don't have this state, but we have movies here and also the search input. Okay, so first thing what we have done here is filter the movies, and when that include the search input. So what we have in the search input is right now is the empty one. Okay. And we create this let render movies load in movies, and if show movies is true, we are going to render movies equal to the movie list, and we added the filter movies. Very good. And here is, let's remove that. And if I save, search movies handler, where is this? Okay, yeah. Here we have this, but we don't need this here. Save. And if I refresh, we have a unique warning for the key and also invalid DOM property class in the movie cart. So let's go in the movie cart, and here we have this class. We need to say class name because I have copy from. And also I'm going to remove this anchor tag. We don't need that. And let's see if we have class. No. Okay. Close this one. Let's go to the movie list. And also we have class name here. Good. Go and refresh. And now we have this for the warning for the key. But if I see if everything works, lion, and this is not working. And why it's not working? Let's go back. So when we say const search movie handler, we say here this set state, but we don't have that this set state. Instead, we have set search input, and we add the search here. So call the search input, and in here we need to say search. Okay, remove now this set state and save. From here, refresh. And if I search for lion, okay, remove, everything's work as previously. Now that's it about this video. I hope you understand. And if you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to install the React router. So if you go to the reactrouter.com, go to the documentation, and here we have the installation. And I'm going to install with npm. If you use yarn, you can add yarn here. So npm install react-router-dom at 6 because it's the version 6 right now. So copy that, and I'm going in the VS Code, open the terminal and paste that code in. Hit enter, and it's going to install the React router. Now we need to import the browser router from React router DOM, and we need to import in the index.js and add the browser router here. So let's go in the index.js, import that browser router and say browser router and paste the app there. So I'm going to move it up here, save. Okay, close now the index.js. Next thing is in the app.js, we need to import the routes and route and also the link. Let's copy that and go to the app.js, and I'm going to add up here. Next, we say routes and we add a route here, the path where we want to go. So in this case is slash, which means the home page here, and the element is going to be the element we are going to render. So in this case, the home component. So let's copy that. And in our case, I'm going to add after the search, and I'm going to say routes path. When we go here now in this location, I want to display the movies. So instead of home like this, I'm going to say render movies. So render movies. Okay. And let's remove the render movies from here. Next, we need to create an about page. So I want to create an about component and paste it here. But for now, if I comment this one and hit save, and as you can see, if I refresh, everything's work correctly. Lion and doctor. So that's its point to this route. So when we go to the slash route, so if I say when we go into the movies, render this one. So if I save, and as you can see, we don't have movies right here. We have only the h1 and the input. But if we navigate in the slash movies like this, now we have the movies. And also if we search, everything works because all the logic we make in the app.js. Okay, so let's remove that for now, and let's create the app, the about component, and I'm going to remove this one because it's for the class components. So save that, and inside the source folder, I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to say pages. And inside the pages folder, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to name it about.jsx. Okay. And here, let's create a function component. So I'm going to say const with name about is going to be equal to the function. And inside here, I'm going to return a div. And inside the div, I'm going to say just h1 about page. For now, we don't need about page like this. And we need to export default this one, export default the about page. So about, like this, save, close this one, and in the app.js we need to import that. So let's say import about and we need to import that from pages / about. Okay, and I think we are good now. Here when we go to the about, we render the about page. So if I save and let's navigate now in the about, hit enter, and yeah, here it is, the about page. Okay, that's it, the quick view for React router, how we can install and how we can add routes to the React. Hope you understand, friends, and if you like, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like the video, and see you in the next one. All the best. Hello friends, welcome. In this video I'm going to add a link here to the, when we have a title, add the link, and when we click we go to the movies / the ID. I'm going to add the ID to the movies, and there display the movie details. But first we don't have the IDs, so if I go in the app.js, we get the data of our movies from this API, and if I copy and paste that API here, we can see we have only the title, the year, runtime, and poster, but we need also the ID. And when we go to get a single movie. So for that I'm going to create a JSON server. So here in our project I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it database, and inside there a new file db.json, and here I'm going to say movies is going to be with the movies we get from this API. So let's select all, copy and close now, and paste it here. And if I save, now we need to run this to give it a URL. So let's open the terminal and create new terminal. Okay, and run npx JSON server and watch that file we created. So watch the database / db.json. Okay, and I'm going to add a flag for the port to be 8000. Hit enter. And now if we go in this URL, we get the same movies. So let's paste that in. Yeah, now let's add also the IDs here. And I'm going to say ID is going to be 1. Let's copy this and do the same for the rest. So here is going to be 2. Here is going to be 3, 4, and 5. And also, so let's add 5 here. I'm going to add the poster from this one to the last one because we don't have. Save. Good. And of course, if I come here and refresh, we get now the IDs. Very good. Now we need to change the API here. So I'm going to copy this one and paste it here. Paste it, save, and let's go and refresh. Everything works correctly, and you can see we have also the poster to the last one, which is the same as this one. Say lion, yeah, good. Now we need to add a link here, and we need a page to display the single movie. So also we need a route. First we need a route, and but to have a route we need a component. So inside the pages, I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to say movie details.jsx. And here I'm going to copy what we have in the about and paste it here. Change the name from about to be movie details, like this. Save for now as it is, and import up here. So I'm going to say import movie details from pages, movie details, and register a new route. So here, save, and I'm going to say movies / and for ID, for the ID we need to say colon and the ID. And we need to add the movie details here. The element is movie details. If I save, and let's go now to the URL and say movies /1. We are in the movie details page. Okay. Now we don't want to go like this, but we need to go from when we click here. So we need to go in the components, movie card. Here we have the movie card. Here we need to use the link, but first we need to import the link from the React router DOM. So import link from React router DOM. And here when we have a title, I'm going to say link to the, not poster, but backticks here, and say movies and movie ID, because we have that movie in here. Okay, we have the movie here, or we can say directly distract the ID and say ID here. Now if I save as it is, refresh, and we need to add the link here, the title inside these links, I forget. Okay, save it. And now, as you can see, when you hover it, we get that /movies3, movies5, movies4. Okay, but if I click, we go to this movie details page. Good. Here now we need to get the single movie based on the ID here. And for that, let's go to the movie details, and we need to import first the use state and also the use effect, because we are going to make an API call. And also we need to import the use params from the React router DOM. And as it is now here, let's say const movie, and also set movie is going to be use state, and the initial value, we know that the movie is an object, so the initial value is going to be an empty object. And I'm going to say also const params is going to be use params, like this. And here, if I say call the use effect, and we need to add an callback function, as you know, and because we need to call only once when this is going to render, I'm going to add the empty array here, so it's going to run only one. It's going to call this use effect only one time for the first time. Here now I'm going to say just console.log, not movie, but I'm going to say params here to see what we get. Okay, save it. Let's go and refresh, inspect element. And why I'm not going like this, go to the console. We have an object which ID is 1. If I change the ID to be 2, enter, and you can see the ID is 2. So we get the ID. Now how we can get the movie and assign here? We need to make an API call, and we can do the same thing we have here. But I'm going to create another similar, but I'm going to use the async await so you can learn both. So let's say here const, and I'm going to name it get movie is going to be async and here I'm going to create a const result, which is going to be await, not get movie, but we need to fetch now and add the backticks. Let's go and copy this URL /movies, because here if I just say /1, we get the single movie. Okay, so let's copy that, paste it here. Now instead of hard-coded 1, we need to add $, and here params.id. Okay, you need, so the params ID is 1, so we get movies 1, params ID is 2, we get movies 2. Okay, now let's say const data is going to be with await again, and call the results JSON like this. Very good. Now we have the data, we need to set the movie. So let's say set movie with data. Okay. And after this, we need to call now this get movie method. So let's say get movie like this. And now let's display the title in here. We can say movie dot title with capital T, because that's it how we can get. Now if I refresh this one, yeah, here it is. Okay, let's display also all the details, or I'm going to copy what we have in the movie card because it's going to be the same. So let's copy what we have here. And also the distraction, copy and paste in the movie details. I think we have the return. I have copied the return. Yes. paste it here, save, and the link is not defined. Yeah, because we need to remove now the link. We don't need the link here. Save, and here it is. Now the single movie. You can add another style, but for me it's okay. So let's go back. So let's go back to the home page and select this Doctor Strange. We have the Doctor Strange. Let's select the John Wick, and we have the John Wick. Okay, friends, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy. If you like a content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, share with your friends, and see you in the next project. All the best. Okay, friends, this is going to be the last video. I'm going to add navigation here. I'm going to remove this header. The search, I'm going to leave it in the navigation, and here I'm going to change the look for the design for this movie card. Okay, let's open the VS Code, and inside the app.js, here when we have the h1 and the div, I'm going to add this navigation. So select all, copy, and don't worry, I'm going to add in the GitHub repository so you can find there. And I'm going to paste it in here. Type is going to be search, and let's remove the name and the ID. And I'm going to add also the OnChange event handler in here, and let me indent something like this, so we can see what properties we have. Okay, now let's remove the h1 and the div here. And if I save, go to the browser, and yeah, we have something like this. If I go in the home page and filter the lion, yeah, everything is working. Now what we need here in the anchor tag, I'm going to remove this because we don't need the anchor tag. What we need the link here. So instead of anchor tag, I'm going to say link to the home page, and I'm going to add the class name to be what we have inside this anchor tag. So cut from here and paste it inside here, and let's say React movie. Let's remove now this one, and we have this location, but I'm going to add only the about page here. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to say link to the about page. Okay, remove the tref here. Class is going to be class name, and that's it. remove that from here. Now, instead of something like this, I'm going to say just about. Okay. Now remove the other anchor tags. And also this one. Save it. Come here and yeah. Now if I click the about, we have the about. Go to the home page. Very good. And also make a search here. So lion. Very good. Next one, let's add a margin here. So this is the search label for search. And in this one, I'm going to say margin bottom to be 8. Okay, save it. And yeah, now it's more okay. Now let's fix this one, and I'm going to use this card here. So I select all, copy, go to the movie details, and here I'm going to display that one. So we have poster and so on, but let's remove this thing. And I'm going to select all the classes here because we need class name. Okay, change them to the class name. Okay. Next, this image. The source is going to be from the property, and we need to self-close that because it's React component. So we can say poster here. Very good. And in the alt we can say title. Okay. Next one, where we have the title in here, let's display the title. Okay. And if I save, go back, go to the browser and refresh, yeah, here it is, and I think it's very good. Also we can display that this is lorem ipsum. So after that I'm going to say span and display the year and the runtime. So I'm going to say year, and let's copy and duplicate that. And now I'm going to say runtime. Okay. If I save and go back, and yeah, we have the year and the runtime. And maybe add some classes here. So I'm going to say class name to be margin 2 and padding 2. I'm going to say bg slate 300, and text is going to be slate 800. Okay. And also rounded MD. If I save and see now, yeah, something like this, the same for the runtime. So let's copy this one and paste it inside here. Save it, come here, and I think we are okay. Now I'm going to remove this, or just add margin to be 6 and padding 4. Okay, like this. I think we are okay now. Go to the homepage, about, and go to the single page. All the best, friends. If you like a content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. See you in the next one.